Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the Heat Army podcast. It's been not another bad week for Gateshead FC. If you were at the game on Tuesday night, you would have been treated to a fantastic display against a Carlisle United side that were a little bit dumbstruck. I think just to put it a little bit politely. We're good to go into a little bit of housekeeping. Say thank you to our sponsors in Northern Print Solutions and Patrick. Of course, follow both of them on social media, and of course, hit that subscribe button as well. And as I say, follow us on socials. And lots of messages are coming in, but I'll quickly bring in the panel. We've got Mickey as ever. Hello, Mickey. How you doing?
Not too bad. Myself, evening, chaps.
Yeah, not too bad. And of course, we've got the beautiful Mark Carruthers. It's been a fantastic week. I mean, we were treated to something special on Tuesday. I know it's only pre-season, not trying to get carried away. But the way we went about business, Mark, was very impressive.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to get carried away with pre-season results, and it's also very difficult to not read too much into stuff. And you look at the intensity shown against the likes of Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Carlisle United, 3 good performances that also showed there was room for improvement as well.
Yeah.
Which was something Rob was very keen to stress on Tuesday when I spoke to him after the game. He spoke about the fact that there were little aspects of the game that he felt weren't quite up to standard. But when you're beating a League Two side comfortably, and should have been, let's be honest, it should have been a lot more comfortable as well. In the manner that it did, it shows that things are moving in the right direction. But again, a word of caution. I mean, no matter what club you are, you maybe always look at pre-season fixtures as a bit of a soft touch. You just go in to look at fitness. But I think Gateshead have treated their pre-season fantastically well, and they've got the results out of it.
It certainly was. I mean, obviously the Carlisle game, we could have been more. It certainly wasn't for a lack of Carlisle not trying to get the ball. They were chasing it a lot. There's some beautiful passing from the back that turned into an attack in like 3 passes after the defense moved it in very tight quarters. There was impressive things there against good strikers. Luke Armstrong and George Kelly, as I was calling him George for 15 or 20 minutes. They were 2 top strikers at that level, and they did make us make mistakes at the back as well. We've got to say this. There was times during, we think we mentioned it in commentary, that we've seen Anthony Sweeney. He was on the notepad, wasn't he? He was jotting down some of the little mistakes when they were notable, and you could see they were going to work on that. And that's that's what preseason's all about, isn't it? But if we're nitpicking, those were the little blemishes. But apart from that, I mean, Mickey Lucannon from the penalty spot, normally dependable.
Yeah, well, I said to him after the game, I says, you can only have pencils now. You're not allowed pens in your pencil case. But normally sticks away. But the trialist number 15 had a couple of chances. I thought one he should have definitely scored from.
Yeah, I mean,
if we had 5-0, there would have been major eruptions on it, Carlisle.
Yeah. I mean, I did see in commentary he was trying to be a little bit too cute with a little flick of the outside of the boot, but in fairness, the keeper got out there really well to block that one. But yeah, I mean, there was opportunities there that you forget about because of the other ones were so notable. And talking about trialists, obviously there was trialist number 7 again, who just looked amazing, like he's been playing in that midfield for quite a while. But we'll get into all of that. We've got messages coming in as well. We've got quite a few. We've got afternoon off to watch Heaven versus Sunderland. Let you know how it goes. Well, thank you very much, Steve Farnfield and Sandra. They put hello, boys. Hope you're okay. Good result on Tuesday against Carlisle. That was more like it. Bring on Farsley on Saturday. Of course, that brings us to the next bit of news. Farsley Celtic, the friendly has been announced. 1:30 kickoff on Saturday. I did download I've got it. There it is. There we go. There is the artwork for it. That was put up by the club. So there you go. Tiernan Brooks, big grin on his face. He's looking forward to it. So get yourselves down to get to the stadium for the last one. And I think in that game, we might see, you would imagine, what would be close to the starting lineup for the start of the season, you would imagine. Normally is kind of when you're a week out. But yeah, so that go back to the messages, quickly go through. We've got evening, we've got lots of people sending hellos, so we'll put them up here on the screen. So I can't tune in tonight as it's out for a birthday meal with the family. Looking forward to watching it back tomorrow. Well, happy birthday to whoever it is who's having the birthday meal. Right, just having a little look. There was other things that happened on Tuesday night as well, just before kickoff. This man signed for the club, Jacob Butterfield, with fantastic pedigree. He's played everywhere and a lot of games at the higher levels of the Football League. And I said this to Mark, and it's too good not to use again. As I think Robbie Tinkler offered his beard as a signing-on fee. But Mr. Butterfield come in. I'll tell you what, while we're talking about, I'll put the highlights up from Tuesday night, because Mr. Butterfield was heavily involved. But a fantastic addition to the squad. There he is there having a stab from 30 yards. And Mark, you cannot help but notice the quality on the night that he has.
Well, that's the first time I saw that shot, because I turned up late, didn't I? But I will say it wasn't my fault. My son was training with his new team. So, but yeah, I mean, I just looked at everything Butterfield did. Bear in mind, a new signing, hasn't really had loads of time to gel, but he just looked as if he could do anything in that midfield. He could play deeper. He obviously played as a bit more of a number 10 on Tuesday, just off Oseni. I think the one thing is, if anyone read the piece I put out in the Sunderland Echo, he's kind of been brought in, not the only reason, but he has been brought in to help Will McGowan and a couple of the younger players to guide them. I just thought he looked like the experienced pro that Gateshead maybe needed in that area in midfield. Someone that can, take control of a game when you're aware that, the tougher games that you'll face, your Barnett, your Solihull Moors, places like that. So I think it's an interesting signing. It's a one that I know Rob didn't expect to make. But what was key to me was that Jacob Butterfield said that he wanted to go somewhere where he can enjoy his football, and the fact it's Gateshead speaks volumes.
Yeah, and then this is the move that we were talking about before, how Gateshead just opened up the Carlisle side here with just a few passes, and it's just poetry in motion. And if this is what was a League One defence last year, yes, they got relegated, but it's still tough opposition. Yeah, Oseni should have at least hit the target there. But we seem to be, I'm not going to say ahead of schedule, but we seem to have hit the ground running. When you hope, you can at the beginning of pre-season. Of course, the tail of the tape will tell when we play Ebbsfleet if we are, firing on all cylinders. But there was the dubious penalty there. It was a soft one when you see it here. Yeah, little touch on the thigh, but if we can get ourselves up in the first match and make a statement, I think it'll be an exciting season. And then we can look 10 games in, see where we are, how we're performing against, because we've got a right mixed bag. Obviously, we've got Oldham in the start off. We've got the dreaded Halifax to get out the way as well. So there is some tough games in there, and I think it'll give us a very good picture of how we can possibly fare in the league.
I'm quite excited about the season. I mean, we're talking off air. I think for me personally, another striker in the left back, just to add to the squad, I think that would set up really nicely for the season. And hopefully injuries, if we were lucky with injuries, who knows? I mean, the core of the side from there is still there. They might have an eye on what happened last season and want to put things right, and let's hope so.
Well, I think that's generally the consensus there. And let's see, the ball just seems to get a touch off the defender. It doesn't disrupt where it's going, but it slows it down, and the keeper's just wrong-footed there. But yeah, it's nice to go into a season excited, isn't it? I mean, you always do. It doesn't matter if you've got a tough season, you're looking forward to it. But at the minute, we're seeing young players and new players looking like they've settled in quickly, like number 7, who was, when he sets up the second goal, was beautiful. The ball through to him was nice as well. But we're seeing players that we don't know about or didn't even think about coming in, like Butterfield and him. If he signs, it's it's nice that the club have still managed to keep to their principles to bring in their type of players, because they could have easily went out and went, there'll be a lot of suitors that wanted to come here. Here we are. He holds his run off lovely. We could have possibly been offered players, and you think they're probably not in our mold, but you think, oh well, they're available, but Gates had stuck to the guns. They've went for the same type of players, and this is what we're seeing in the early developments of that.
I mean, a lot of it's down to having the core of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, we've lost 20 odd goals from Denanga, and Ed Francis is an absolute quality player, but the midfield thing, I mean, Ed Francis is a cracking player, would work in any of the National League teams. But we seem to have a, this is kind of sound arrogant, but I didn't mean it to be. We seem to have a cover in Regan for Ed Francis.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the core of that team. I mean, in the past we've lost two strikers, and that's a hell of a blow. But we seem to absorb this blow with Ed Francis and Denanga, and hopefully we can just get better.
Sorry, go on.
The big thing that was said to me by Rob, and I think it was 2 weeks ago now, we spoke about Regan Booty, and we spoke about the fact that he will play maybe a slightly different role this season, where he is playing a little bit deeper than he did at times last year. I mean, you look at the trophy final, he was pushing on. He obviously got the goal, but I think this year, because of Ed moving on, you may well see that Regan, as he has done in pre-season, will take that role in front of the back four. And I think it's harsh to limit him to saying that he is that sort of midfielder. For me, I think Regan Booty can do anything. I think he can do absolutely anything in that midfield. He can play anywhere.
Yeah,
which is going to be a massive help, because you've got other players in there that can do exactly the same. I think Butterfield can. I think I think Callum Whelan, who we haven't really spoke about, but I think has quietly gone about his business in pre-season and been very consistent. He can do the same role. He can play those sort of three different midfield roles as well. So it's a really interesting midfield dynamic, without even mentioning, the likes of Greg Ollie still to come back. You've got others that are coming into the mix as well. I don't know how that guy missed that shot. I can't remember who it was now.
Wake.
Charlie Wake, was it? Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I think there's a lovely mix in midfield. There's some big decisions to make. But the important thing is that people don't just look at it as day one. This is a 46, whatever it is, game season, and that's what that. So they're going to need a squad. I have got a piece that'll be in this weekend Sunday Sun with Rob, where he talks about the fact there is no best 11. There is no strongest 11. This is an 18, 19 man squad that everyone will be used throughout the season. There may well be loans come in at some point, but there are going to be a lot of switching around when the schedule kicks in.
Yeah, well, obviously we've mentioned it. I think in passing. Obviously, there's 7-man benches with 5 substitutes available to be used this season, and with the players that we've got, it's not going to be a case of players missing out on game time, because the rotation, it gives the manager more options to change a game, or if you're winning, you can rest a player a bit more easy and bring on another player, whereas you'd probably bring off the player that's took a knock. The dynamics of that is going to change somewhat with that. I'll just remove the screen and get it up to there. I'll change the layout. There is a funny one here. It was, where is this message? I've seen it. I was waiting for Paul Simpson to batter his players with his crutch. He did give them new dressing down on the pitch. It wasn't quite the hairdryer treatment, but I think it was a show of, this isn't going to stand in that one. But it's... For us, it was a really good one. So if anyone to send the messages in, if you were at the game on Tuesday, of course, there is other news that's happened in and around the club. Of course, we've talked about Butterfield coming in. There he is there. We've got a couple of players have went out on loan in Fenton John. He's went to Morpeth. He was there last season on loan as well. So he's going into his familiar surroundings. I'm right on that. He was there last season. Yeah, it's getting right. A couple of other players that have went out on loan. Williams has went out on loan to Workington. as has not Will McGowan. Getting all the players mixed up here. I thought I had them in the right order. Has young. So I forgot the name there for a second, but yeah. So 2 players going out on loan there. Bramwell, of course, went out on loan as well. So sorry.
Well, Rutledge,
yes, of course. Rutledge went to South Shields. So yeah, there's players out there. I'd imagine the club have recall clauses and stuff just in the event of what could possibly happen throughout a season. But yeah, it's quite the thing at Gateshead that we've got like this 2-tier transfer system where players are being brought in for the future and utilised in the Northeast. And at the minute, the Northeast is such a, I will call it hotbed of non-league football again. I don't think it was for many years. I think it really is now because of the clubs that have took the step up and how they're doing. But to be able to bring in young players that have been on the fringes of other clubs, we've seen something in them, and they're going to learn the trade, still training with us, but playing for somebody else. I think it's a nice dynamic.
You got Harrison Bond as well. He's gone to Blythe, so he'll get good game time up there. I just think, there was kind of a hint of it when Louis and Rob were announced as the management team on a permanent basis. They spoke about the talks they'd had with the board about this new approach and trying to develop players as well. And then when I spoke to Rob earlier in pre-season, he mentioned again kind of a 2-tier approach to recruitment where players would be brought in from local clubs and would go out on loan at high levels. Benfell's a great example of that, coming in on the back of an unbelievable season with Blythe Town in the 2nd division of the Northern League. One thing I will point out, and I have got a piece coming out in the morning with Rob about Aidan Rutledge, is they do still say Aidan is a long-term project. The fact he's gone to South Shields for the season doesn't mean that his time as a Gateshead player is over. Quite far from it, to be honest.
Yeah.
They still think he can become a player that will benefit Gateshead. But one big thing that was said was he'll play alongside Paul Blackett. That to me smacks of an unbelievable partnership with a big man, little man. Aidan can drop off deep, Paul can drop off deep. So
also as well about Aidan Rutledge, we've got to remember that he hasn't played at the higher level. He made a massive step up last season, and even what he did at Scarborough and Darlington was amazing considering the level that he was at. And I think everyone knows that he's got an eye for goal. It was whether or not if he could get up to speed, get the physicality, and find the space. And he's doing that, and he's still doing that, and he's still young. Players do develop at different ages. I think we've seen that right throughout the years. There's numerous names that went on to be great goal scorers have, maybe just had that little slower start. But if he's getting that type of education local to the club, that's his parent club, I think it's just bodes really well, doesn't it?
And the big thing is South Shields play a similar style of football. So, they do play high press. They do play possession-based football. So, to me, it feels like a really good loan. And I'd argue a lot of the loans are just perfect for the players involved. They'll get game time at good levels. They'll be challenged. I think Fenton John obviously going into a place where he's comfortable at Morpeth. I actually really, and I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I actually fancy Morpeth to have a very good season this year. I think they've brought in some very good players, and Fenton will be key to what they do because he was excellent there last season. His last game for them against Stafford Rangers, he scored twice and made a real impact. So I think it's really interesting how they're doing things, and the only club that will benefit, the main club that will benefit will be Gateshead because they'll come back as better players.
If you need, sorry, Dave, if you need to recall them, they're going to be match fit.
Yeah,
and which is what you want them sitting in the stand.
I mean, you've got to look at. I mean, we talk about 2-tier, of signing players, but the way it's working, that players can come to us to develop and let them develop on our own players as well. It's quite a thing at Gateshead. I never thought I'd see the day. Mark, we've got a message for you saying, how's the book coming along?
Slowly. It's been a busier summer than I anticipated, but it is coming along. I'm still working on it, but we'll hopefully get it out by Christmas. That's the plan.
Right. Well, obviously we've got Mark on, and we know Mark is he works very closely with Share If You Care, and you've got an update on something that's happening at the moment.
If You Care Share Foundation co-founder Matthew Smith is undertaking ridiculous challenge is the only way to put it. Starting on Monday, he is running from Bournemouth's Vitality Stadium to St James's Park, which is bad enough because that's 380 mile, 400 mile. However, he's doing it via every single Premier League stadium, which is taking it up to around the 700 mile mark. So he's hoping to do it within about 25, 26 days, finishing at St James's Park on the last weekend of August. Matty has had a tough few weeks in the build-up to it. He's been through his paces with Martin Nugent, elite performance, who worked with a couple of ex-Gateshead players in the past. It's a remarkable challenge. He's looking at raising £135,000 for If You Care Share Foundation, the charity where I am an ambassador. If anyone wants to help and donate and do whatever you can to support Matthew, you can, and I will get this right. I have written it down. You go to totalgiven.co.uk/appeal/Team H135. So any support for Matty would be greatly appreciated. It is a ridiculous challenge he's taken on. I couldn't be more proud of him. I couldn't be more proud to call him a mate. And I'm looking forward to seeing him for what will be quite a well-deserved pint at the end of it. For me, I mean, not him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he'll inhale it, won't he?
Mark, are you training for the last 20 miles?
Well, I was going to, but I'm washing my hair that day.
Yeah. But no, what talking about just before we came on air, I can remember when Eddie Izzard did the one round the country, a marathon every day, and you can't just stop. The next day you've got to keep the legs moving because it affects the heart and stuff, because the heart's used to a certain rhythm of what's been going on, so you got to slowly bring yourself down. So you still got to run even after the challenge. The challenge isn't technically finished when it's finished. So
he's already raised, just to say before the even started, he's already raised just over £11,000. So
fantastic!
Heading towards 10%. I will apologise because it's actually over 800 miles.
Oh, 800 miles! Wow.
Yes, 800 miles.
Not making it any easier for the lad, Mark.
No.
Well, me saying that doesn't change how far it is, me.
I
love you for that.
We need to drop a tweet to Keith Downey to see if Sky News can cover it, because it's quite an undertaking, that. So
it works out at, I think it's around 30 miles a day. So basically a marathon a day.
Yeah,
marathon a day.
Yeah.
But
on a mountain bike or a never mind running. Wow.
Yeah, it's
well done, Matt.
Oh yeah, just don't know if anyone's seen this last night. Horrendous news of what happened at South Shields last night. Look, I make no bones about it. South Shields aren't my favourite club in the world, but I don't want to see any football club. It was like when Spennymoor had their clubhouse burnt down many moons ago. It's horrible. And South Shields, like Gateshead, are really putting themselves in the community, and for that to happen, it's just disgusting. And I hope the person comes forward himself, or they find out who it was, and justice is done. But that's just absolutely horrendous.
Just going to quickly put just put it in the comments there, the link to If You Care Share as well. The foundation website, is www.ifyoucareshare.co.uk. There's more information on Matty's run. I will go back to South Shields now. Yeah, horrendous. Everyone in non-league is fighting the same battles. Yes, there are clubs that are more wealthy than others. We know that. There are clubs that have better facilities than others, but to have someone do what was done there is just abhorrent, no matter what the club is. I feel for everyone at South Shields because, they are one of the more progressive clubs in the region. They are trying to get into the upper reaches of non-league, which they have into the National League North. I think they will have a very good season this season, but let's hope whoever did that can be found and held to account.
Definitely.
Buy his testicles from the floodlights.
Oh, well, they're quite extravagant floodlights, so that'd be quite the hang. Right, this is. We'll be back in a second after this. The Heat Army podcast needs your help. No, we don't need money. all we need is you to do one simple thing. It'll take less than a second. If you could hit that like button, the subscribe button, and share whatever post that we put up regarding Gateshead Football Club, it'll go a long way in helping the show build and ultimately helping us push the club to the moon. I don't know if anyone's seen the vlog yesterday with my daughter where she took over everything. And as I say, if Luke Hannon is watching, them the words of my daughter, not me. What was funny was myself and Mark were seeing Luke in the tunnel afterwards, didn't we? And he just held his hands up. He said he just tried to place it as far as he could in the corner both times, just to make it unstoppable to get to, and just where it went. He was with the side because that keeper was he was a big lad. Do you think he's just trying to get thinking, look at the size of him, I better aim for the corners here? For me, I think he just tried to put it too far in the corner on the first one and then thought about it on the second one.
Look, the main thing here is do it in pre-season. It doesn't really matter. Not really.
That's it. That's what we were saying in the car.
Not
I'd rather they've done it now than on the opening day.
Look, he does it when it matters. That's all that matters. We know that.
I bet he does. I bet anyone he does. When he gets that first penalty in the competitive games, he scores.
Yeah, it'll be a weird.
He'll come straight over towards us with a t-shirt saying "Shut up, Sophia" when he pulls up his top.
I'm still waiting to show my "Shut up, Davey" one.
Yeah. That's never happened. But no, I just wanted to, obviously we've talked about some of the new signs that's come in, but obviously Butterfield there. But two players I want to give a special mention to because they've really impressed us so far. Obviously, Mark's seen more of this player than what we have in the past. But Will McGowan, I've really been impressed with his composure, and he doesn't hide. There was a couple of mistakes against a couple of players put a couple of wayward passes, but he went to rectify it or he didn't hide. And as well as his creativity and stuff, it's been an absolute joy to watch so far, and I'm excited to see what more can come from him.
Yeah, I mean, Will at South Shields was always someone I thought would go on and have a good career. He is still obviously in the very early stages of that. Was excellent at Blythe over the last sort of 18 months. Admittedly, in a very tough season for them last year, was a real high point. Always felt to me as if he was a Gateshead style player. Someone that can come in. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Greg Ollie, where he can do the things that Greg can. Playing those positions that Greg can, and again we talk about learning from Butterfield. He learned from Greg Ollie as well. So it's a really interesting signing. Again, I think we'll see it as a long-term project, but someone that I think can go on to be a very, very good player for Gateshead.
It certainly is, and to see what just saying about tragic things happen to football clubs that saying Arsenal has been the stand down there in South Liverpool. It's not it's awful, really, isn't it? And I bet the people that do these things are people that actually use the place, that actually go to the ground as well. It's a sad thing. Someone's obviously spotted where we were, but great vlog. Also, the Court and Beacon Loft. They're doing some for the Gateshead Foundation, so that's why we filmed there. It wasn't just coincidence. Any news on Greg Ollie? I imagine he'd probably be involved on Saturday, possibly, because was it fractured a bone in his hand?
Yeah, 2 weeks I got told.
Yeah, so that would be if everything has healed as well, it would probably, you would imagine, be involved on Saturday.
He was doing the running before the game, so.
Well, so was somebody else, but we're not going to mention it until it's over the line and done and dusted. There's a couple of people mentioned it in the comments, but yes, there was somebody there that you might have recognised. But when we get an announcement, that's when we'll talk about it, because
quite surprised I was running.
Yeah. But you know where it is. I know we joke on stuff, but you know what it is. Just wait till the deal's done, because football, there's always somebody else trying to sign somebody, and a signature can always be tempted away somewhere else. so we'll not talk about it till it's done. We've got, oh yes, a shout out to don't forget to give a shout out to Olympic silver medalists. We've got Sam Redgrove from Win Leighton and Kieran Riley from Leam Lane. Wonderful things happening in Gated. Gated was the catalyst though of putting that forward. The start of the silverware, we started it, and they've just carried on getting silver, not gold. Right.
I think you grasping at straws there, like.
I am, and someone's put Thomas Boyle, but as I say, there was someone else feeding Thomas Boyle photos to put things up as well. Right, just the other player I wanted to go about. Obviously, he got the man of the match on Tuesday night was Owen Aseni. I know it's only pre-season, but the lad just seems to grow with confidence in each game. And his positioning's been fantastic. He's holding up the ball. Yes, we can, really give him his flowers at the end of the season when he's got 35 goals and top goal scorer in the league and player of the year and the championship medal to go with it. But as a young man, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do going forward. Much like Will, being pleasantly surprised, because when you sign a young player out of the academy system of somewhere else with only really a National League North loan under his belt, the expectations weren't exactly high, and that's not a slight on Oseni's name or anything like that, but we weren't expecting to see this mammoth number 9 doing his stuff.
When you look at his photo there, when they first signed him and they put that photo up, I thought he was going to be like a Will McGowan type of striker, just like a small lad, nippy. When I first seen him, I thought, Christ almighty, he's a big lad. He's very similar to Dejan. I don't think he's as bulky, but he's as quick. He's really, really impressed me. So as Will McGowan, to be fair. I totally agree. Will McGowan just reminds me of, like Mark's already said, like a younger Greg Ollie.
Yeah.
And who better to learn from than that clutch of midfielders? I know I'm going over old ground again. Mark's already said it. But wow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, look at. I mean, if you look at the players that are around that have got experience, Bowman, it's not Bowman, Woman, has played at a very high level. Even played abroad, a little stint there in Ireland. You've got Greg, of course, the wealth of experience of what he's had with Gateshead. With all the turbulent things in between as well. Then you've got Butterfield as well. You've got Regan Booty, who is an experienced player, even though he's still fairly young. He's moved about and he's played at different clubs. Whelan come through the Manchester United academy. That you can see this. What's about Whelan? We don't have to hide that. And then obviously Butterfield's come into the mix as well. And there's just so much for him to take in from these players, because I'm sure they'll be in his ear, as I seen at one of the games against Spy Spartans, as Hannant was in McGowan's ear as well during the game. There's so much there, and it's a well, I don't want to go for it, daft sayings, but like a learning tree. There's so much around for a young player to take in if they want to take it in.
Add things into that as well.
Yep.
Just to be really, really boring, and I do apologize for putting a dampener on things, but it is important to remember this is going to be his first full season in the National League.
Exactly.
He has had a brilliant pre-season. There's no doubt about that. There are still aspects of his game I think need serious work, which I know the management team and the coaching team will work on. But he does look good. He needs competition. Obviously, that'll be hopefully rectified in the next couple of weeks or so. It's promising, really promising, but all that'll matter is, and this goes for the whole team, by the way, all that matters is day one of the new season and hitting the ground running then, because, if they were to get off to a poor start, pre-season's forgotten about, and it's purely all that matters is day one onwards. So apologies for putting a damper on things.
No. It's I
think it's putting people's feet on the floor.
Exactly.
To be honest.
I mean, it's easy to get, like cock a hoot and be all excited, but it's exciting to have quite a few young, new players in that are getting you excited to see where they're going to go. as I say, I don't think I don't know what's in Rob's mind, but I don't know if McGowan will start in the first lineup of the season. He might do, he might not. But he's definitely going to get game time, as we mentioned earlier on, with the amount of substitutions and how long the season is, and add in the other competition that's coming in as well, the National League Cup. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a bit better, but we've got to also keep ourselves, down there. But will there be any puns players this season when they score? That Mark's said he's buying so any time he senses one, he's just going to give us a jolt.
Right, I'll tell you what, we will do that. We'll buy a jar, and every time you do, we'll put something in.
Oh God, I'm not going to skip.
We'll give it if you care share at the end of the season.
Yeah, we'll do that. We've got Dr. Doom's job. Mark lay off being a pessimist.
It's a realist.
It's being realistic. I've been to loads of pre-season. We won every game. Went to Billingham Town, won 9-0, won beat Shildon 4-0 and all this, and then went in the first game of the season, got beat 3-1. You've got to keep your feet on the floor. The pre-season friendlies, yes, the performances have been encouraging. Very, very encouraging. But it's all about getting to that peak on the opening day of the season.
Can I just quickly massively contradict myself, though? In that, and you may well going to talk about him anyway, but I think Tiernan Brooks looks a very, very good signing already. Looks to me the perfect Gateshead goalkeeper, good with the ball at his feet, ignoring the missed kick the other night.
That was a divot.
Looks commanding. Looks as if he joins with the play so easily. It's a very good shot stopper. Not scared to come for crosses. To me, and we shouldn't forget, it's a long time since Boren Monty that Gateshead have had a goalkeeper they can call their own. And this signing to me feels like a goalkeeper that can develop with the club. Hopefully promotion, will be on the agenda when we get to the back end of the season. He's someone I think if they were to get into the Football League could develop into a very good Football League keeper. Still young as a keeper as well as many of the new
goalkeepers. Yeah. And
so, smart addition.
Fans were gutted he left.
Yeah. There would be. It's not the greatest of things. Nathan Coulson's obviously been at the bookmakers. Apparently, he's went from 50s to 33 to 1 to be top goal scorer. That's a big ask, but I mean, I know I was joking on before, but if he can chip in and do the work rate what he's doing, because we know it isn't all just down to the number 9 in the Gateshead squad. The goals come from around the team because of the work rate that's put in, and it'll be pretty. I'll
tell you what, as a striker, you must sit in that team and think, I'm going to get chance after chance today.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So we haven't mentioned this. Of course, there was the return of 3 players on Tuesday night. No one commented about poor Mr. Mellish on Tuesday. Yeah, it wasn't a night for him to remember, but lovely to see him come back. And as the captain of Carlisle, having signed a recently new contract, they love him there. I do believe there has been interest in him from other football clubs, but he's where he is. And look, you'll see him score goals. He always pops up every week. And then you had Luke Armstrong as well, who cut a frustrated figure because the strikers didn't get much service at all. And Taylor Charters as well, who I thought grew into the game as it went on. But lovely to see them players back, and they're playing Football League, and Gateshead's played a part in that, and I'm quite happy to be a Gateshead fan and see them move on. It's when we look now, Mickey 20 years ago, there used to be like one player you'd go, let's have a look. How did he do? He was with us. He's in the Football League now. Now it's about 15 players. You've got to, if you're trying to follow.
What EFL show on Saturday night, and it's Gateshead players pretty much all over the league, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, and of course, I think Ainsley Pears will be a Premier League goalkeeper one day, and I can't wait to see that, because I loved him when he was at Gateshead. He works very hard, and hopefully see it. Someone's put, and Luke Armstrong, yes, they had forgot about him. I often come up with wrestling ones, but Mark said he looked like, was it Triple H? Mm-hmm. Isn't that what they did when he signed somewhere? They did the Triple H
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're overly convinced by doing that, mine, but yeah, I mean, look, you know, there's people saying they were poor on Tuesday night, the three lads that have been to Gateshead, but I think that was maybe symptomatic of two things. One, the fact Carlisle just didn't play well, and the fact that Gateshead played very well. So, you know, I do think Carlisle will still have a good season. Luke Armstrong will still get goals. John Mellish will still be a good player and a strong player for Carlisle, and Charters will hopefully get more game time. I spoke to John Mellish for the Football League paper, so that should be coming out in a couple of weeks' time. Sort of talking about his time at Gateshead, the debt of gratitude he's got towards Gateshead, and obviously the season trying to get back into League One. So I still think, you know, you shouldn't read too much into a pre-season friendly performance. They are three very good players.
They have just dipped into the transfer market today as well, Carlisle, so that they're, you know, trying to, you know, get themselves in order. And as you say, we've won every game in pre-season in the past, and then, you know, turned up on the first day of the season and got tanked. It's got to go to the actual games when it counts. Right, 1 second. Sean Paris, where's York play? Where's York still playing? Who for? Wasn't he at Brackley the last seen?
He was at Brackley.
Yeah, I think he might have moved on from Brackley, but
he did not go to Russia. I might have read that wrong.
He was at Colville.
Colville.
Yeah. I'm not going to take the credit. I googled it because I saw the message coming.
Yeah.
Right. There we go. There's me thinking Mark was just right on the button there.
But I think he's a Kettering.
Yeah. I was like, where's York? I thought he was a good player.
I did. Love West York. Oh, he's a great player.
I mean, of course, we've only got one game left, which has just been announced today. If anyone's joining us late, there has been a friendly announced for Saturday against Farsley Celtic. It's a 1:30 kickoff at Gateshead International Stadium. So if you can get down, and I think you probably will see the start of what could possibly be the starting lineup on Saturday, or at least a good chunk of it, and see how because obviously players have went out on loan. The squad has been trimmed a little bit, so you're going to see the nucleus of what's going to be on the first day of the season. So get yourselves along with that. It should be a great game. See, Mickey, there's been quite a few, people have been going on about, winning the league and going on really high. We've seen many a team over the years, players that we'd like to forget, players that we wish we still had. How do you think this one's shaping up for excitement for you in your whole time of following the club?
If I'm being totally honest, do I think we can replicate the playoffs? Yes. I really believe we can replicate the playoffs. I think Forest Green are probably going to be the team to beat because Dale Vince has got so much money. They've got Cottrell, who's brought in players, first team players from Cheltenham. But I think we can give anybody a game in this league. But I could be sitting here 2 weeks from here now and we're thinking, God, we've got to go into Woking, or just being flattened 3-0 off Ebbsfleet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we talk about keeping our feet on the ground, but it is very exciting. I can't remember a squad. I mean, of course, the past 3 season squads have been fantastic, and we've seen players go on to higher levels. But this is just as an exciting squad with so much potential, and with a backbone already in there. It's like, can you remember? There was an interview many moons ago, and this line always stuck out to us. Joe Royal said, any manager needs 5 years to build a team. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily the yardstick that everybody uses, but we've got a nucleus that have been together for 4-5 seasons coming up now, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor. Yes, it isn't with the same manager, but it's the same ethos and drive to bring it forward. It's the next step of the evolution, so to speak, the best way we could have went without bringing in a new manager. And are we seeing the long-term development of a squad properly?
I think you're seeing the fruits of the labor, of the groundwork that was laid down by the the coaching staff and the ideology of going to find players that fit into that system.
Yeah.
And I think we are benefiting massively for it. The likes of the Regan Booty, the Ed Francis, the Callum Whelan, all of them want to come here because we play decent football.
Mhm.
And they're brought to the club with that in mind, and they're flourishing.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Obviously, Nathan's mentioned the loan system there as well. And what I should point out is Gateshead have now got a reputation of benefiting players who come in alone. You know, you look at, obviously, he's mentioned there 3 great examples in Dejan Brown, Karen Lofthouse, and Mamadou Job. Thoughts with Mamadou, actually, because obviously he's had a serious injury. Hopefully he's back as soon as possible, because he's had a wonderful introduction to life in the Football League on the back of a really good loan at Gateshead. But going back to the original point, you know, Gateshead will be seen as a club that can develop players. I think you'll now see the caliber of players Gateshead can get on loan will go up a level. I think instead of in the past where it's been promising players that may go on to have a career, you'll see ones that are right. They're going in the first team next season, but we'll send them out to a Gateshead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And can I just add on the flip side of that, Gateshead now, because of what they've done, are in a position to maybe even pick and choose somewhat. They don't just have to accept, you know, and as we know, they'll always look at the human being first. If they've got the right, you know, ethos, if it's someone that turns up with Louis Vuitton trainers and just doesn't want to buy into the club, he just wants to play football, then that's not the player that's for this football club. So, you know, it's a nice position to be in. Forest Green.
Further back, just before you go even further back, like Cooper, Chiori, Camille Conta.
Yeah,
these are, you know what I mean. It's Paul Warren must be waxing lyrical about sending players to Gateshead because he's done it with Rotherham and he's done it now with Derby.
Yeah,
Paul Warren must be saying, well, if you've got a promising player, send them to Gateshead. He must be saying that somewhere along the line.
And the Aseni deal is a key example of that. I know he wasn't, you know, a transfer as such, but we do know that he was advised by Derby, by, you know, Dejan Brown, that Gateshead's a good place to develop. And to play that, I think you're probably at the stage now where if Derby were to loan out a player, they would straight away look with Gateshead. You know, if it was someone in the same position as the 2 lads we just mentioned, 100% they would look to Gateshead.
Yeah,
you would think so.
Just having a look around, Mason, Forest Green did some business there. They got Jed Ward from Bristol on loan today. So played a great against Gateshead last year for Wheelstone. Yeah, he was.
That was one of the best games we saw last season.
Mm-hmm.
2 sides playing proper football, high intensity, high press, unbelievable.
It was full 90 minutes as well, wasn't it? Yeah. It was a great game.
I mean, Maynard went to Notts County now, and I thought that would have been the perfect fit for that guy, but it doesn't seem to have really took off, does it?
No.
It's big shoes to you know, to fill, and also as well, it was always going to be a team that was coming to not its end, but it needed refreshing, and whoever he brought in, he was going to have to make an instant impact, and kind of didn't happen. But I think he might turn it around this year. Remember, Kedwin Scott's back fit now as well, so hopefully we'll see him get amongst the goals in the Football League. Steve has put, looking ahead, I'm hoping for a top 10 finish, a good trophy run, not expecting the 3rd FA Trophy Wembley trip in a row. FA Cup 3rd, 4th round would be nice. It certainly would, but league, for me, I mean, obviously you need an FA Cup run to help get some money into the club, but if we can get up there and get into the top few spaces in the league, it'd be very nice, and stay there.
There is another player we haven't mentioned, actually. Sorry, that's that Gateshead, and we speak about wing backs as Kane Adom, who's picked up a little bit of a knock, and I think he's someone. I always remember having the conversation last year with Rob. When I say last year, I mean last season. He always felt Kane would take time to adapt to full-time football. We shouldn't forget he was playing part-time before he came to the club with Welling. But now with that sort of 6-8 months behind him, And a pre-season, yes, he's taken a bit of a knock, which is why he hasn't played in the last couple of friendlies. But he's someone I think could have a big season. Playing in that wing back, we talk about who could play right wing back, who could play left wing back. With this style of football Gateshead play, the wing backs have got to get forward, and we know for a fact he can do it. It's probably just working on the other side of his game, but having someone like Kenton Richardson behind him, or Tinkler, depending on where he plays, is massive. So we shouldn't forget him as well when we're talking about the squad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously because he hasn't been involved as heavily in pre-season, it's kind of been a name that's went under the radar. But I mean, let's look at
I must admit,
just off the pitch, in the stand, the back end of last season, the scouts were out in force, and I'm guessing with us having so many of the same players and other ones that have come in, that it still will be, and that's become part and parcel of the way we play, the way we've developed players, the way loan players have come in and developed. That I can't remember where it was towards. I think it's probably 3 or 4 games before the end of the season. Newcastle had sent their chief scout as well to watch Dejan Brown. There's an excitement around the way we play, and it's lovely that everyone's talking about us for the right reasons. Watching us.
I mean,
yeah. Go on, Becky, you go.
Well, exactly. I mean, we watched it, and you tell people. I mean, you're still going to get the people who think non-league football. It's the old guy in the flat cap and his whippet, standing on the flag watching it, and then it's just long ball. And the National League is far from it, and we are absolutely. I know we are in big trouble when we go long ball, because we've always been bloody hopeless at it.
Yeah. Say Adam was an unreal signing. He's been running for 6 months. Brilliant gem to unearth. He certainly is. I mean, obviously he got the perfect start as well, didn't he? Come in, scores on his debut, and then chips in the next few games, and really did hit the ground running. And obviously you spoke to his family, haven't you, Mickey? After a couple of games and down at Wembley, they said that he's developed as a young man as well. He's loving it up here. He's got his independence, and
he says I've seen a difference in him. He's a totally different lad. Not attitude wise, just happier. Good. Yeah. Well, I mean, I know it sounds like I'm name dropping, but Kieran Zimmerman's family felt exactly the same. Mm-hmm. They couldn't believe how the lads were so tight together, and the happy atmosphere, and the lads just are loving it, and it's good. It's really refreshing to hear. And
well,
I'd like to say something. He was itching to say something. I would say.
Before we do that, but there was another player that we forgot about, Kieran Evans, another one that come in on loan, and
But this is, when you hear Rob or Louis or whoever at the club talking about developing players and people, that's not just said for an impact. They are genuinely trying to develop these players as people as well, and make them into the sort of players that can go on and have good careers, but also become good people and reflect well on the club. Mm-hmm. You look at. I think Macaulay Langstaff's the best example of this, because you'll not find a more down-to-earth lad who Gateshead, yes, he's obviously played for Bilham Synthonia, was at Middlesbrough's Academy, blah, all that. But he developed into a young man at Gateshead, and he's gone on to become a captain in Notts County. He's now obviously a championship footballer, which is brilliant for everyone involved in that. This is why people, and I don't just mean myself here, I mean Dicker as well, and people like other people who work in the media, enjoy being around Gateshead, because there's a good feeling. The squad are just good group of lads. The management team are open and honest with you, and that's the environment that helps people flourish. And that hasn't been done just by Rob and Louis, by the way. This is going back to Mike and Busted and Belly and people like that, and encouraged by the board as well. It's there's really there's a lot going on at the club, and everything to my mind at the moment is very positive.
I don't like that, because I like, obviously if I speak to Louis or Rob, in private, I never interview them or anything, just general conversations. And at the back end of last season, Mark couldn't make it to a game, and I had Regan Booty on commentary with us, and I was talking to Louis about it, and I said, what a lovely young lad he is. I said So I didn't have any preconceptions of him, but when he come up, he said he spoke beautifully. I said, just as great a player. And I said I was just absolutely just gobsmacked by him. And he said, thank you. He goes, I'm going to let him know that. He goes, that's what we want. He goes, that's exactly what we want here. And Louis has this I'm not going to say unnerving knack, and I said this to Mark when we'll come back from live. When you talk to him, he feels like he gives you too much, a little bit, when because he's so enthusiastic about it. And that's just him, and that's and Rob as well. That embodies them, along what with Mike and what Busted did. And I think it's strange unless you speak to Rob and Louis one-on-one. Yes, it comes over in interviews, but you'll get that sense of thinking, Christ, I could pull on my boots and play for them. It's that nice atmosphere. And obviously, when new players and other football clubs speak to them, they must get that as well and think, well, our players are going to be safe going there.
Look at one of my happiest moments of last season was Box Park after Wembley, because yes, the players had that private area, but they were mixing with supporters as well, and everyone was there together, and that kind of epitomised what Gateshead Football Club is for me. I think it's that the club have been through the crap of what happened sort of 5-6 years ago now, but it's developed on and off the pitch. I think the board deserve a lot of credit for that. I know they've had a little bit of discussion over the board on social media in recent days. But for me, you look at what supporters have done, what local businessmen have done, what the Soul Group have done to build this club from the foundations upwards, and to put experts in place to build on off the pitch. It's been a hell of a journey, and one that could take the club anywhere. And I'll say it again, it just needs more of the local community to realise what they have in their hands here.
It certainly does.
In 6 years, since the Soul took over this club, look what it's done. And look what the football club have done in the 6 years the Soul's had it.
Yeah, and just before we go any further, I'd like to take a special moment to mention a very, very special lady. She's been on the podcast many a time, Tracy Wilson. She's took a little step back at the moment, and Tracy is an absolute star, much like, as I mentioned about Louis there, a beautiful person, and is very caring, not just about the football, about everyone that's around. So we're sending our love to Tracy, and hopefully we'll see her at a game soon. But just to go on about, obviously you're talking about what's happened in the last 6 years, and everyone working behind the scenes. It is still a struggle. Don't be thinking that. And just to build on what Mark said as well, we do need more people there. We've still got to drag your friends along. It's still word of mouth, unfortunately, at the moment. These games sadly aren't going to be televised as regular. Not that they were that regular for us, but the National League isn't going to be at everyone's fingertips as it was if you had a BT subscription now. So it's more imperative that we do push the podcast out, we push social media posts out by the club, the highlights out, any goals scored when the lads are on the road, share it, get it out there, let people see what's happening, because we know there's something special about this group of players. We've known it for a couple of years now, and it just needs that extra push. We can't rest on our laurels. The soul doesn't rest on the laurels. They could do with more people. The club can always do with more people through the gate on a match day. And as Gateshead fans, it's our obligation to still do that. This isn't Manchester United. This isn't Chelsea, where there's going to be 40,000 turn up regardless. We have to push it and still go into it. And that's the top and bottom of it. We only have what we've got, and we've got to work with it. And we've got here, it's to get players used to early TV kickoffs. So that's because there was someone asking about why is it a 1:30 kickoff. I don't know. Maybe that's something to do with travelling, so Farsley can get back to Yorkshire at a decent time. Don't know why it isn't a 12:30 kickoff. For whatever reason. We've got the Spartans got 1,000 young fans through the doors at the end of last season, whilst plummeting down the table. So surely we can get a few new faces in when we're flying. Well, let's hope we are flying. Of course, we keep saying feet on the ground, but be excited on that note. But we'll come to the end of the show, and I think we've covered quite a lot, haven't we? There, it's been good. St. Geordie's put a message there. Middlesbrough, Carlisle, and Sunderland fans were well impressed with Gateshead's quality of football. Yeah, there's been some nice things around. We've got, did I read this one out there? Neil Robinson predicts Tom Allen for Player of the Year predictions. So yeah, and Farsley must be wanting to go on the lash in Newcastle after the game. Who knows? But Moxtey's got his.
Sorry,
wouldn't want to.
It could be that. Just a word on the Middlesbrough thing there. Michael Carrick spoke very enthusiastically about Gateshead after the game. So I think if there were any young players at Borough who were to become available on loan, I wouldn't be shocked if they end up at Gateshead.
Yeah, I say there was a few on display there. That now say the young lad Finch, who I didn't, as I say, I found out in commentary that it was Keith Finch's son. Did you know that, Mickey?
Which one was Finch like?
The one that played up front for Middlesbrough was Keith Finch. Yeah, Keith Finch's son. So yeah, well, thank you very much, everybody. Remember, share the podcast and share, more importantly, everything from Gateshead Football Club. Hopefully, we'll see the new shirts come soon. I don't know if they'll be available for Saturday. It'd be nice if they were, but if not, keep and view on that. Of course, we've got the away shirt to be shown as well, which we've heard is quite nice. So a big thank you to our sponsors, Northern Print Solutions, and to our partners at Patrick. We have reached out to Patrick about prizes to give away on the podcast throughout the season, and they have said, what do you want? So we're going to get into that, and we'll get some prizes out throughout the season. Mickey's got a whole new wardrobe coming, apparently.
I've got a big hold on it. It's huge. I'm just going to go on the Patrick factory. So put your orders in, lads, and I'll try and get them on the cheap.
Yeah. So there we go. No, but a big thank you to Mark as well. As I say, I think we've got back in the swing of things on commentary. It was really enjoyable on Tuesday night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's so convinced, Mark.
It was good to be back. I'm looking forward to a busy few days.
Weird concert.
Well, on that,
looking forward to a busy few days coming up. So
yeah. Before Mark Nashes off, your competition win where you guessed the link.
Oh yes.
When I put you'd won to do the commentary at any time of his choice, he looked absolutely delighted.
There you go. Well, on that note, everybody, we'll see you next week, and also we'll be there on Saturday for the commentary. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.